Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of our shooting program, and welcome to today's show. We have an interesting show for you today. We have some excerpts from the weekend at the NRA convention in Dallas. And also, friends, let me tell you what, there are people out there who want to take everything that goes bang away from us, every firearm away from American society, certainly civilians in America. They can be stopped, but believe me, we don't have time to waste. We have to do it. We have a great show for you. Well, let's get started with our 12-gauge shotgun and some volunteer water bottles here. You know, friends, we have a tremendous number of viewers each week. One, because we hear from new cable systems that are starting to carry our program. And actually, the Outdoor Channel Network is really coming along so well. We're reaching out into all kinds of places that I think that no one ever thought that information of our type would ever get. And it's so important that we let everyone know that we possibly can, how we as normal Americans, as gun owners are. I tell you, it's starting to sprinkle a little bit of rain out here, and trust me on this one, those storm clouds are on the horizon. And those storm clouds are people that want to take away our freedom, that want to do away with any personal responsibility. And you know, when you do away with personal responsibility, you do away with personal freedom. And it's a whole lot easier to stand up now and do something about it than down the road somewhere when it's too late. Try and stand up then, and you have the heel of oppression literally on your neck, like has happened in so many countries all over the world. You know, my good friend Roy Brunn said a while back, not many times in the course of human history have people been allowed to be free to make decisions for themselves. And friends, that is really the basis upon our philosophy of government here. People allowed to make their own decisions, certainly within some guidelines. You can't have chaos, but a tremendous degree of personal freedom. And that degree of personal freedom starts with these firearms. Trust me on this one. Okay, friends, as I mentioned, we have a tremendous number of new viewers. And here's something, a lot of people are buying handguns for the first time and they don't know that much about them. One, that's why we're here on the air. But let me show you something. On a revolver, of course you have simplicity of operation. And that's one of the reasons that I prefer revolvers for the new shooter. I personally like revolvers myself and carry one most of the time myself. But for the new shooter, someone who's coming into the sport of handgunning, or for that matter, any of the firearms arena in general, I certainly recommend a revolver. But a while back, I knew a lady who was new to shooting, and she managed to get the hammer cocked on her revolver. And the first rule, of course, is don't ever point the gun under any circumstance at anything we can't actually afford to shoot. And this means we never point the gun at another person just casually or what. We just don't do it. And we don't touch that trigger until we're ready for that hammer to fall. There's no point in touching the trigger at all unless we're ready to shoot the gun. Well, what happened was she got the revolver cocked, and then she didn't know how to get it uncocked. So, in fact, this particular person had an accidental discharge, so shot a hole in her floor. But thankfully, she did have the good sense to point the gun in the safe direction. So we're going to look at a way, briefly, that you can decock safely a revolver. Now then, friends, if you have the revolver cocked, again, it is so important with any firearm to always point it in a direction where nothing is going to be injured or destroyed, certainly that we can't afford to lose. Now this gun is cocked, and you know, it only takes a very slight pressure on this trigger to set it off. So, and if your thumb happens to slip like so, and this gun is loaded and I have the trigger down, if your thumb happens to slip while you're decocking it, watch this. Well, now see, it was a long way from full cock, it's about here, but what it do, it went off. So here's our option. We only had one bullet in it. I'll show you how is one method of increasing our safety factor in decocking. It will bring it to full cock, and here's what you can do. You can put your thumb here. Do not touch the trigger. To keep your finger off the trigger, put your thumb on the hammer here. Put your other thumb or finger in this case a thumb, and put a little bit of pressure against that hammer, just a little bit. See how I'm doing that? I'm putting it in the gap here, and I have a larger thumb, but I think most of you will be able to do this. Put a little bit of pressure on that hammer to keep it from being, your finger or thumb from being injured there. Now then, see, even if we pull the trigger there and our thumb slip off the hammer, we have a finger in the way here, literally preventing the gun from firing. So we'll touch the trigger and we'll let the hammer go forward a little bit from full cock. Now then, we'll take our finger off the trigger, move this thumb out of the way, and gently let the hammer down. Now let's put another cartridge in the cylinder here and see what happens. We're going to use that same procedure, and yes, of course, our background is safe here. Now then, let's see what happens. It's at full cock. We're going to do the drill. We're going to take our finger off the trigger, put up my thumb in here, and now then press down on the hammer. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger and let it come off the full cock notch. All right, notice I took my finger off the trigger, take it out of the trigger guard. Now then, I've got pressure here to relieve the pressure on my thumb that's forward here between the hammer and the frame. And now then, now watch what happens. See, the safety mechanism, the automatic safety is already in motion. Let's let it slip now that our finger's off the trigger. Now watch. See, nothing happened because our finger was off the trigger and the automatic safety bar there was on its way up. So, see, that is one method. We'll do this again. Cock it. The finger here between the hammer and the frame. Finger on the hammer here, thumb here. Go ahead and let it come off the full cock notch. Now then, take our finger out of the trigger guard, and now we can gently let it down. And that's one way to increase our safety in decocking the revolver. Okay, here's a single action. We'll do the same drill. Now realize we have the gun at full cock. Now watch what happens if in fact we were decocking it and our finger happened to slip off that hammer. Now watch. Now see, we had a discharge there. So let's do the same drill here. Place our thumb here between the hammer and the frame. Other thumb on the hammer to put some pressure on it. Now then, finger on the trigger. Now, let the hammer come away from full cock. Let it start forward. Take a thumb out here and gently lower the hammer. Certainly we need to be as safe as we possibly can. And friends, let me tell you what, nothing will replace the safety mechanism between your ears. Trust me on that one. That's the greatest safety we have, is the one between our ears, our ability to think and function and pay attention. You know, friends, accidents are preventable. They absolutely are. And this is one of the things that we as shooters who do this a good bit need to pass on to those new shooters who are just coming into owning a gun or certainly going out and learning to use one. Every safety factor possible cannot be overstressed. Simple things like don't put our finger in the trigger guard, don't touch the trigger for any reason until we're ready to shoot the gun, ready to move that hammer. Never ever point at anything that we cannot afford to shoot, and we have to do these little safety drills occasionally because a little information now could be so important later on. So we want to do everything we can to encourage safe and responsible shooting. It's so much fun when properly and safely done. And this is something for all these new people watching the program. We want to welcome you to our concept as normal Americans who like guns, and we darn sure want to start you off on the right foot.
You know, Carrie, I think it's as important for you ladies to know how to use these firearms as it is for us men. But you know, there's something else. We can have firearms for defense of our homes and certainly for sport, but we also need information.
Yes, I agree. I think the New American Magazine is the best source of information available in this country.
Well, I would certainly agree. The New American Magazine is the truth and nothing but the truth. And friends, if you would like to know what is really going on in this country and around the world, if you want, in fact, the truth, well, you need to get the New American Magazine. So here's how to do it. You can get the New American by calling 1-800-727-TRUE, and those numbers, of course, are 1-800-727-8783. The New American, $22 for a 6-month subscription. It comes twice a month. Now, friends, with your new Shootin' Show subscription, they will also send you a free copy of what the United Nations is bringing to all of us. So this is very important. Subscribe today. You know, friends, in times like these, which indeed are strange times, we certainly need our firearms, but we also need the information about what's really going on. Order today.
Well, friends, here we are, myself, Bobby Christie, and the judge, of course. We're at beautiful downtown Dallas, and it is a pretty day today. In fact, we're at the NRA convention, and this is at the Dallas Convention Center. And I think there are going to be some things here that you're really going to enjoy seeing. We're going to talk to some of the exhibitors, and we're going to find some new products, and I think it's really going to be a good convention this year. Friends, we're over at the Ruger booth. This is a new neat package, the Bull Barrel 22 semi-automatic with the thumb rest on the laminated type grip, and this is such a neat handling little gun. I expect their sales to be very strong. That has a really nice feel in the hand. Balance is also excellent. Of course, friends, edit 3, 2, 1. This, of course, is the Ruger Super Red Hawk, probably one of the strongest 44 Magnum revolvers out there, double action or single action. These are really massive guns, and Ruger has really had an awfully good run with these. Just a real nice package overall. My own preference is to change this grip and put the Hogue grip for a little different angle on it, but these are really good shooters typically. This is the new polished stainless finish that Ruger's now offering. This is one that instead of nickel plate, this is one, your nickel can't come off because it's stainless steel all the way through. But this is something they're doing. It's a polish just like, looks like nickel. For those of you that really like a high degree of finish on a handgun, and you have the added benefit this is stainless steel, which is more rust resistant than some others. Ruger really has a neat lineup. Friends, this is a lever on a Ruger. This is a lever action 22, which is a new model for them, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun for lever gun fans. And something else you may be interested in seeing, they have some case sets of the very fine over and under shotgun that they're making. So a lot of exciting product here at the Ruger booth. Tremendous amount of consumer interest here in the booth. Now, friends, this is over at the air gun section, and this is great because they're letting people shoot at these targets with various air guns, and you have some NRA volunteers here who are being helpful as far as assisting people in shooting these air guns. A good feature. Friends, I tell you what, this is, I believe this qualifies about as much an off-road vehicle as what we're normally going to run into. Special rig here.
Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, you can see here our lovely and talented assistant here, Catherine, who is holding a large squirrel gun. It's in fact a Mossberg 590, well, large squirrels. Okay. 12-gauge shotgun. In fact, she's holding it on the tri-tote, one of the neatest inventions to come along for safekeeping and holding a firearm or a fishing rod or anything else you want to carry in the woods with you. Catherine, show them how easy the gun is available for action if you need it. Absolutely. Well, let's show you some more about how it works.
Get your hands off that gun, bow, or fishing rod. Holding onto your equipment while you're going through the woods or climbing a hill is fatiguing and possibly dangerous. The versatile tri-tote all-season carrier is easy to use. You never have to drill a hole in your fine gun stock, and the tri-tote can be set up for your specific needs in a jiffy. Just follow the illustrated instructions and free demo video enclosed. There you are, hands-free, yet ready to shoot in an instant. Hunting and fishing have never been more enjoyable. With tri-tote, your equipment is secure and your hands are free to support yourself or carry other gear. How did you ever get along without tri-tote? Make this year's hunting and fishing the best ever. To order your tri-tote at this special TV price, call toll-free 1-800-231-1443. That's 1-800-231-1443.
Well, friends, here we are in the Shooting Times booth and also handgunning. And, of course, one of our very favorite magazines. We'll give the magazine a little plug here. And we're here on my right is Larry Wyson. I say that right, Larry?
Yes, sir.
We see Larry's name in print. We just don't know how to say it. I can say Jim. It's Sheriff Jim Wilson here.
Right.
Gentlemen, how are we doing as far as the show goes? You having a nice run here?
It's really a good show. A lot of people coming out. And of course, the attitude here in Dallas is real positive. It always has been on citizens' rights to own firearms. So we're having a great show. A lot of good people out here.
Of course, Jim here is from Texas. You live in Texas now as a peace officer here in Texas. Larry, where are you from, in fact?
In fact, I'm also from Texas, about 6th generation of Texan.
You mean you're local too, huh?
Not quite local here, but yes, we're local is in Texas.
Well, we certainly enjoy reading, and I know a lot of our viewers do buy Shooting Times magazine and handgunning. And you have a lot of fans out there that are going to be watching, and they're going to be enjoying hearing you say a word to them. And awfully good to see the booth here and know that people are going to come out and enjoy meeting you.
So we appreciate you coming by. Thanks a lot.
Well, hey, the bill will be in the mail. I mean, you know, send the checks. You know, send cash, a small bill. That's no. Sincerely, these are very fine people, and I do want to say this: one of the absolute best shooting magazines out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here at the NRA show, there are a lot of collecting associations with guns on display. This is an Allen revolving pistol. These were commonly called pepper boxes.
This guy, well, this one does make better. Actually, I got this before I even thought about it.
Whereas all the barrels, or essentially each barrel was a chamber, and the entire mechanism there would revolve.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the actually Olympic Arms booth, right, Chief?
Yes, I've been using these Olympic Arms barrels in my rifles now.
Well, this is quite a character standing here with us. You'll notice he has sort of an unusual hat. Friends, for those of you who've been watching our show for some time, this is Chief A.J. And Chief, it's nice to see you. I see certainly always a man who is going to, shall we say, have a interesting outfit, huh, Chief?
Well, this is very personal. Johnny, back when I was 8 years old with a homemade bow and arrow, I took that buck deer. And then I have a son-in-law now up in Alaska, and this is a silver fox from Alaska, and I put the whole fox in there. So everything in there is just highly personalized in the Native American way.
Well, what about the feathers, Chief? Where'd they come from?
Well, my good friend Joe Teflinger, and he is the Puget Stick fighter champion for the Soldier of Fortune, and he wins that every year, and he shot the largest turkey ever taken out of the state of Indiana. And so Joe said, from my heart to your heart, Chief, I'd like you to have these feathers. So when my medicine man heard that, he put them into my bonnet, and then he wrapped each feather individually with red and gold to show where I learned to shoot in the United States Marine Corps, red and gold.
Well, sir, I'm certainly impressed, and I know a lot of people are stopping by and saying hello. And, you know, Chief A.J. here, was one of the very first features that we had on the program about 5.5, close to 6 years ago, and certainly he's remained a friend, and we're glad to see him. You look like you're doing well.
Wherever I went, people would say, I show you on Johnny Rowlands Shooting Show. I was in North Carolina, and they saw me there. I was in Wyoming, and I would get calls at 2 a.m. in the morning, Johnny, because your show would be on in California and places, and they say, Chief, do you know that Johnny Rowland? Well, sure I do.
Well, I tell you what, we've enjoyed knowing the Chief, and he is quite a colorful character. Now, you're still doing exhibitions all over, aren't you?
Yes, and now I'll be going around doing exhibition shooting for that big gun museum there, Buffalo Bill, at Cody, Wyoming.
Well, now, this man has shot a phenomenal number of wood blocks. I mean, it's in the how many thousand wood blocks?
I did 40,060 wood blocks, and that was 7,200 over the record that Colonel Tom Fry did back in 1959. And the reason I did that, I was 49 years old, and the lawyers just picked me clean, Johnny. I didn't have a thing left in my name, so I borrowed 18 rifles, shot a world record, and now I got a gunsmithing store, and they invite me to go all over the United States of America.
Well, Chief, where is your gunsmith store today?
Well, it's right in a cornfield in Tuscola, Illinois.
Well, Tuscola, you call it the Tribal Council gun shop, or what do you call it now?
Well, we call it the Tribal Workshop because I have several tribal members that work in there, and we have instructed young ladies in how to carve stalks. And so people will send us pictures like of their German Shepherd dog, and she'll sit there and carve their dog into their stalk and personalize it for them. And then I have people that do the metal, and they'll personalize people's rifles for the metal. So through my going out and being highly visual and being friendly and shooting records, I have gotten jobs for people who wouldn't otherwise talk to the public.
Well, sir, that's an admirable quality. It's always good to see you, Chief. Wish you a lot of good luck, and you'll have some more people telling you that they saw you on our shooting show.
Right on, Johnny.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at the NRA convention visiting with some nice folks from California. This is the Millet Sight Company. A lot of people know them as Millet, but the proper pronunciation is Millet, and we're standing here with none other than Tom Millet. Now, Tom, you're actually president of Millet Sights. Am I correct, sir?
That's correct, Johnny.
Now, how long you folks been in business?
Johnny, we've been in the shooting accessory business since about 1980.
Well, a lot of us are very familiar with seeing your sights on factory guns, but you offered some other things than sights, but you have some new products, and what did you want to show us?
Well, Johnny, I'd like to show you one of the products that has made us most popular over the years. For many years, shooters have needed upgrade sights. They needed sights to make an improvement over what the factory produced.
Well, now, one, it's easier to see, and two, most of us know that for different grades of ammunition or different types of ammunition, different bullet weights, they're going to shoot to a different point of impact. And this is one thing, certainly on these semi-automatic pistols, a lot of them come with fixed sights, and you folks offer sights that can be adjusted for elevation, windage, and for vision, right?
That's correct. This is our high visibility sight system here. This features our wide outline with the orange bar front. This gives the shooter the ability to get a very fast sight acquisition and, of course, have the full adjustability capability there.
Now, this looks to be higher. Now, this is a replacement front sight on the Rigger. Riggers are easy to replace the sights on, and this looks to be quite a bit higher for a lot more adjustment, right?
Yeah, this is more of a target sight system that replaces the factory fixed sight system. And it does have a little higher profile, but it also has a very bright blaze orange front sight, which enables the shooter to really get on his target fast and for fast sighting. Okay, also, we have this Mark II low profile sight. This is our fixed sight that replaces the factory fixed sight with a sight that gives you a much higher and brighter sight picture, much easier to see and much more visible. This new shooting rest allows the shooter to easily sight in his gun at the range to work up his various ammunition and loads. As you can see, it's easily adjustable. A person can easily sight in. The unique features about this rest is it's soft and friendly. It doesn't have any spikes that stick into the bench. Very easy to handle. It's very lightweight, very friendly to use. Another one of our most popular products is the new red dot sight. This new red dot sight is really working well out for turkey shooters and white-tailed deer hunters. This enables you to convert your shotgun over with our new mounting system that fits directly into your Remingtons, Mossbergs, or Winchester shotguns with a very easy to mount system. Drops right on, allows the shooter to get on his game fast. Because of the unique red dot system, there is no magnification. It's a one power system. This allows the shooter to go ahead and get on his game very quickly without fighting the magnification problems. And you'll also notice on this mounting system, which is a rather unique mounting system, our saddle mount here allows for easy ejection, loading and unloading of the firearm, because we've cleared away the material so there's nothing in the way of the shooter's operation. In fact, when you have this system on your shotgun, you don't even realize it's on your gun because all the operator area is completely removed. You'll also notice our windage adjustable angle lock rings. These scope rings are 30 to 50% lighter than most other steel rings, and they are fully windage adjustable, which give you the superior quality and the ability to adjust in your rings and your scope much easier as you set up your system. This is one of our most recent products here. This is our Benchmaster rifle shooting rest. This rest system is very unique over most other systems that are available on the market in that it's extremely lightweight, soft and friendly. It's not heavy, it's not like sandbags. This system is easy to handle. You notice that the rear portion of the rest fits neatly inside of the front portion of the rest. It can be stored and easily handled, thrown in the trunk of your car, no problems in heavy sandbags and difficult problems there. The rest itself is cleared out with a sling swivel stud clearance there. The rear has a nice cam in that section for easy adjustment. So when the shooter goes to shoot his rifle, you can reach in here and find that sweet spot and squeeze the rear portion of the base and get right on target quite easily. Much easier than sandbags, and as you shoot, this rest will not settle in. It'll always retain its original position and form. And another one of our most unique products is called Scope Sight. This is a sighting system that we developed a number of years ago for the situation where a person is hunting in dense woods and heavy forest areas, and all of a sudden the buck will jump up maybe 10, 15 yards away. What are you going to do? You got a scope on your gun, you can't see him quick enough, and he's gone. We have Scope Sight. This gives you the unique sight system that fits over your scope, allowing your scope to remain as your primary sighting system. At the same time, when you come to the alert position, when something jumps up suddenly, you have the iron sights right there, right over the top of your scope, allowing you to get that fast shot off quickly. Boom, you got your deer. Ideal system. Fits integral with our standard scope rings. It will fit any of our scope ring systems because only Millette scope rings have interchangeable scope ring tops, where any top configuration will fit with the bottom scope ring portion. We also have an alternative system to the Scope Sight system, which we just showed you, and this is our more conventional see-through scope mount system. This enables the shooter to look through underneath the scope and see his factory sights on the rifle, which in effect gives you that capability also of taking a close-in shot at game that's either fast-moving or too close in to use your optical system. We're showing on this particular lever action 30-30 here our red dot sight. Again, this red dot sight system that we offer is the finest red dot system in the marketplace. It allows the shooter to get on his game extremely fast in very low light conditions as well as bright light conditions during the day. You have a single point of focus. You look at the red dot, you put the dot on your game, you take your shot. Instead of trying to line up crosshairs or line up front and rear sights, this system enables you just to get on the game extremely fast, and take your shot, and get that game that would many times elude the shooter.
Now, Tom, we're hearing that some of the folks are using your red dot sights now on the IPSC type guns. Is that correct?
That's right. Johnny, a lot of handgun shooters are now starting to use our 30mm wide view sight for IPSC type shooting. That's correct.
Now, friends, I'll tell you what, if we could spend an hour here in the booth, and literally they have so many different and unique products, and these are very nice people. This is a family organization, and they have really established a reputation in the industry for quality and for service. Tell me something, Tom, if people want information on your products, how can they get it?
The easiest way to contact us, Johnny, is just simply call in on our free 800 number. It's 1-800-MILLET. Very simple.
Very simple. 1-800-MILLET, and give us those numbers. Get your pencil now. You may want to write this down. So, and those numbers are 1-800-645-5388.
That's
yes,
correct,
okay. So, well, I tell you what, Tom, we've enjoyed visiting with you folks, and we do think you have a terrific product line. And if someone wants information, just give these fine folks a call. They'll get you a catalog out or whatever else. Talk to them, and I think you'll be very pleased with your product selection. And we wish you folks a lot of good luck, Tom.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today. Friends, what do Jim Clark Sr., K. Clark Michalik, Jerry Michalik, and Jim Clark Jr. have in common? You can find them all at Clark Custom Guns in Princeton, Louisiana, one of the finest custom gun shops in the entire country. They offer all sorts of custom packages on 1911s and other semi-automatics, from race guns to custom carry guns. They also offer a number of different custom packages for the Ruger 1022, and also have some very economically priced new 1022s in stock. Clark Custom Guns also has a good stock of Ruger Security 6s in blue and stainless at good prices. Clark Custom Guns offers some of the best revolver packages available anywhere, including action jobs on your Smith & Wesson or some other fine revolvers. In addition to custom work, they also have a completely stocked gun shop, anything from bullets to powder to accessories that you might want. Clark Custom Guns offers some shooting classes. You need to call for availability. Friends, it's certainly good for the shooting show, but good for yourselves when you call and get a Clark Custom Guns catalog. They have all sorts of things listed about their products and services and excellent prices. Give them a call. Area 318-949-9884. Again, 318-949-9884. Clark Custom Guns, the complete custom gun shop. Give them a call today. Tell them you saw it on the shooting show. Well, friends, we hope you're enjoying our program this week. We certainly had a great time over at the NRA convention. I'm sitting here with my esteemed colleague, Leroy Scott, J.D. And, sir, did you have a nice time at the convention?
Yeah, I had a pretty nice time. It was, it wasn't so, there weren't so many exhibits that you couldn't cover them. It was one exhibit hall instead of 2, like it was at the SHOT Show. It was a fine show.
Well, we do want to say we appreciate those folks that walked up and stopped us, who watch our program. They were so nice. Everyone, we really did enjoy meeting quite a number of our viewers out there.
They're getting to be more and more of those, John.
That's true. That's really true. Our program is taking, the network, in fact, is really making some huge strides as far as numbers of people that we will reach every week, and we do appreciate every one of you. Well, sir, I know you have some important things to tell us.
Again, it appears to me to be rather strange that the National Rifle Association, that's supposed to be the great defender of freedom, finds the terrorism bill summarized like this. The winner in the debate was clearly the American public, who got a bill that respects their civil liberties yet punishes heinous terrorists. Bourgeois. That's a bunch of baloney. There's not a thing in that bill that stops terrorism. There's not a thing in that bill that would, or in that law now, that would prevented a train derailment or prevented federal building blown up or any one of the so-called terrorist activities. The Gun Owners of America, on the other hand, says, quote, terror bill is improved but still assaults our liberties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've studied both of these pretty carefully, and I think the Gun Owners of America are right.
Mm-hmm.
They come nearer the fact of the matter than the NRA. What the NRA does is, and they have the clout. They have the power because of their numbers. So they come up and they lobby against something and get a lot of things changed. And believe me, they do get a lot of things that are very bad taken out of the bills. But then when they're through, they still don't have a real good bill, but they support it because they worked with them to get certain things out. Now, that's a doctrine of retreat.
Well, I heard you say a couple of days ago, said, well, we should not give up anything else. We ought to get back some of the things we've lost. Look what we've lost the last 5 years. And you and I can look back to before 1968, where you could get a rifle in the mail. Well, what's happened to crime? What's happened to things since all this stuff has passed? It has not improved.
Let's go back to 1935. That's when the Federal Firearms Act was adopted and outlawed machine guns,
Mm-hmm.
except on payment of a $200 tax and so forth, which is still available.
But what has improved after all these laws have been passed?
More laws.
That's okay.
More laws. Probably more money for lawyers. Certainly more money for more trouble for the public. The legal system has gotten sufficiently complex where it is almost certain that every person in these United States is in violation of it somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
somehow. I imagine, Johnny, if when we went through your junk box, through Bill's junk box over there, that you would find sufficient ingredients with a little ingenuity where you could make them into a bomb.
Well, you're talking about go down to the gas station, get a Coke bottle, a paper towel, and gasoline, and you've got a bomb.
You got a Molotov cocktail.
That's right.
So it's essential that we have more than just the ingredients. It's essential that you have some intention to do something
Mm-hmm.
that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I had a case here a number of years ago where I was representing the Mad Bomber, they called him. He had a can of carbide. You know what carbide is? It makes acetylene. You mix it with water, you get acetylene gas. Acetylene gas will
Carbide lamps and stuff for
Yeah.
lights. Yeah.
Well, acetylene gas will burn
Right.
under the right mixture of oxygen and acetylene, and it'll explode. He also had some plastic bags, garbage bags.
Right.
They charge him with being a mad bomber.
Did he ever bomb anything?
No, he didn't bomb anything, on top of which the district court convicted him of it. And he actually spent some time in jail. But we took an appeal on it, and the Court of Appeal had enough sense to see that they hadn't proven anything about intent, and he got turned loose. But you know what? He stayed in jail for about a month after the Court of Appeal decision.
For no reason. Just for lunacy on the part of an overzealous prosecutor or something?
Of an overzealous legal system. Now, understand, we've got the best legal system in the world. There are no legal systems that are any better. But that doesn't mean ours is perfect and that it can't be improved. The bad things that are still in the bill, you've got Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the sworn enemy of the gun owner. And not all of the agents of that agency are that way, but there are enough, and particularly at the top level. They got a pay increase of $100 million. At the same time that Senator Arlen Specter is proposing that the agency be abolished because of their abuses.
Well, look who our leadership is. Look at the Clintonians. Look at Janet Reno. Look who the leadership is in this. And people say, well, it doesn't matter who the president is. Let me tell you what, friends, it matters a lot. not only can they appoint judges and these ridiculous friends, we have executive orders on the books, and certainly the judge knows a lot more about this
I'd
than I
like
do.
to get into those executive orders in just a little bit, and there's some of them. This most recent issue of the New American has really got a lot of stuff in there. The environmentalists are about to seize the country. In fact, is the treaty on whatever they call it. It's some peculiar global biodiversity assessment, 1,140-page document. They want to convert half of the United States into protected areas where you can't even live. Now, it's true they left Louisiana out, but boy, look what they did to the West. They left California alone. They're not going to fool with those California electoral votes. But huge areas that are preserves and corridors that are not permitted a human use.
This is through the United Nations, their eco agenda. Is that correct?
That is correct. Their eco agenda, and their eco agenda is really wild. They want to turn us back to an environment that is capable of sustaining only about 1 billion people, about 1/7 of the world's population. I don't know what they want to do with the other 6/7. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about that. They want to abolish biblical civilization and the adoption of various virtues or varieties of pre-Christian pagan societies. Helen Chenoweth has spoken out on it quite well. I think she's, she's a congresswoman from Idaho, one of the 2 congresspersons from Idaho. And these people are saying the collective needs of non-human species must take precedence over the needs and desires of humans.
They're crazy. These people are nuts.
Well, they are in power, and they are making it worse. Really, I don't have time to go through this thing in detail because you're limiting me to 10 minutes on this program. But I'm telling you that Helen Chenoweth said in a speech to assembled activists in Kansas City, "Never give in to fear. Remember, we're Americans. With God's help, we can restore freedom to our land." And I'm going to tell you, that is really one fine woman. And I admire her. They've given me a 2-minute warning, but I'm not paying attention to it. Machiavelli had the answer to this. He said, "Most people have eyes and can therefore see. However, few people have the ability to reason. Therefore, appearances are everything." Mm-hmm. Now, in Louisiana, we've got a statewide concealed carry bill that has passed, and the governor signed it. There are other states. I still tell you, get on the NRA ILA fax list. You can get some information. You can also get some more information by getting on Gun Owners America's fax list. And you can fax them at, I'll call them, at area code 703-321-8585. And they'll be glad to put you on that fax list. Good bunch of people. Send them $20 and they'll give you a year's membership and put you on a mailing list too. NRA 800-392-8683. Another good organization, but I think in need for some improvement. I went to one of the meetings at the NRA meeting, one of the large meetings, and the head of the Institute for Legislative Action was so busy touting her accomplishments, and I'm sure she's going to take credit for that Louisiana bill, although I can tell you those of us in Louisiana worked hard for that for many years before she was ever heard of. That issue of the New American is great. And it's got more stuff in it than you can shake a stick at, and I'm telling you, if you're as worried as I am about the future, I'm old enough where it'll last out my time. I think that's what Maria Antoinette said. It'll last out my time. Well, it didn't. It cost her her head. But it'll probably last out my time. I don't know if it'll last out my children's time, but I don't have any grandchildren. Most of you do, though, and you ought to be plain concerned about it. You want to find out something about the American Constitution? 2 little books here. Short, simple, big type, no problem to read them. They're written by Ronald P. Skol, S-O-K-O-L, published by the Michie Company, law publishers in Charlottesville, Virginia. Just remember that's where the University of Virginia is. And that's the first edition and the second edition. He's dead now. He moved to France before he died. He's dead. His book badly needs an update, but there are some real gems of wisdom in it. They're called The Law-Abiding Policeman. And I could quote some things out of that book for you, but they're chasing me on time. If you people don't like this time constraint, call in and gripe about it. There.
Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. You know, friends, it's rare in any field of manufacture that one particular company has a clear-cut advantage over the others. Well, in this case, it's Corbin Ammunition, Corbin Bullet Company, because they make the best handgun, long gun, and even some specialty caliber ammunition that's been real hard to get in the past. If you really want your handgun or rifle to perform at their absolute best, you need to find some Corbin ammunition. For information on where you can get Corbin, information on their product line, call them. Corbin Bullet Company, 1-800-626-7266. Again, give them a call. It's a free call, 1-800-626-7266. Trust me on this one. Corbin is the best there is.
Well, friends, we're standing here at the Corbin booth here in Dallas with Dan and Lynn from the great Corbin Company. Tell me something, Dan. Where's our good friend Peter today? He didn't make it down for the show?
No, Pete didn't make it this showtime. He sent Lynn and I down to take care of this one for him, so we'll represent it best we can.
Well, I think so. It looks like you've got some terrific new products. You know, we've been talking about your 165 grain 45 ACP. I see you have the 400 Corbin on display here. Dan, tell me, this is, of course, the new 400 Corbin cartridge, and this is essentially a 45 ACP neck down to 40 caliber.
It is.
Now, this is pretty exciting, isn't it?
It sure is. Getting a lot of good interest generated in the 400 Corbin. Took the 45 ACP, put a 15,000 neck in it. We can use our existing 40 caliber bullets through it. We use our 135s. We use a 155 grain bonded core bullet, 165 grain, and a 180. We're getting really good velocities out of it. We're exceeding, in some cases, 10 millimeter auto ballistics, getting a 1450 out of a 135 grain bullet.
Now, what does your 1911 shooter need in order to be able to shoot the 400 Corbin?
All you need is a barrel conversion. Change a barrel and bushing in a 1911 A1. Use the existing magazine, the existing spring, and you have no problem with the conversion.
Well, that's in a number of companies. Barstow, Olympic, in fact, is making barrels, and a couple of the major manufacturers have been visiting you folks about chambering. To me, this just seems like a better idea. There's a lot of interest now in the 357 SIG, but I think the 400 would have a lot more potential.
Exactly. That's what we filled it for. Fill that void just above the 357 SIG, creating that 357 Magnum type velocities and energies out of a auto pistol cartridge, and I think it's going to fill a really good void just above there.
And it'll use the standard 45 ACP magazines.
Right, exactly. And that's what makes it such an easy conversion. Don't have to change much of anything just for the barrel.
Well, friends, remember that you saw this concept first here on the Shooting Show, and we want to certainly extend our congratulations. Corbin is really doing great. And we'd like to think that we're a little bit responsible for Corbine doing it, but because it's a superior product. And just give these good folks a call. They have all kinds of loaded ammunition for just a whole bunch of specialty things, as well as you make the run-of-the-mill stuff like the 9mm pretty darn exciting.
Everything in our performance line, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, and our new 400 Corbine.
All right, friends, give them a call on their standard 800 line, 1-800-626-7266. I know that one by heart.
Good, good.
Friends, we're here at the Accurate Arms booth here at the Convention Center with none other than Marty Liggins. And Marty, your official title is a ballistician, am I correct?
It has been.
It has been. Now, what is it now?
Currently, I'm in sales.
Okay, well, he's a person who sells Accurate Arms powder, which, you know, we shoot a lot of here on the program, but now he also sells too. You can sell it as well as talk about it.
Right.
Well, sir, we were very concerned in this terror bill about the some of these nutty, and really that's what you'd have to call them, these people, anti-gun people, wanted to put something called taggants into gunpowder, in small arms gunpowder. And why don't you explain to us what a taggant is?
The taggant is an additive that can be tracked to a particular lot of propellant or explosive. There were several different types of taggants that have been tested by the government. Some were plastic, some were a metallic type of material. There was even interest, I don't think it ever got beyond the thought stage, of putting in radioactive taggants, which didn't go over too well on things that were going to go out into the atmosphere.
Just absolutely unbelievable. Now, what would this have meant if this had gone through? And this was in the terror bill, and a few folks, Bob Barr of Georgia, some others, actually got this taken out. What would this have meant if Schumer and that crowd had been successful in getting this inserted? What would it meant to us as reloaders, as small arms shooters?
I think it's on explosives. I've talked to a couple people with NRA and with ASSC and don't have clarification, but for propellants it would have meant that all the books would have had to been rewritten. You cannot put a taggant into a propellant without changing the burning characteristics. So the charge weights would all change. The ability of the propellant to ignite in high temperature or low temperature, and in some cases at nominal temperature, would have been affected. There would have been, in some instances, an induced chemical instability. The material would not have been able to maintain long shelf life. It would have probably caused us to put a shelf life limit on propellants, so that after a certain period of time you would have to bring it in and have a set of tests run to see if the stuff were still stable and able to maintain its chemical integrity for a period of time, and then it would also need to be checked on a regular basis for ballistic integrity. Whereas now you manufacture it, if it's ballistically correct when you start, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, there doesn't seem to be anything that you need to worry about. With taggants, that's not true.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't this have essentially meant that powder manufacturer would have been literally shut down? The reloading manuals would no longer apply to this, or what you said there, to the new, if they had put this stuff in powder, the manufacturers would not have been able to, a whole new ball game would have been established, and a lot of the things that we commonly use as hand loaders might not have even been safe anymore, huh?
Okay, assuming no change in technology, your statements are fairly close to accurate. There would not have been an easy way to promote hand loading at the consumer level, and certainly not with the broad range of propellants, 100 and some or whatever we've got in the U.S. market. We would not have been able to do that. We also would have seen what propellants we do have. If we had wound up with each company having 2 or 3, then those would not be as useful. You would not have seen the broad range of applications with those that you do with some of the powders now.
Now, friends, that's how close we were. And I tell you what, there were people that really fought that. I think they wound up with it in plastic explosives.
It's not over.
It's not over.
That's the problem. Because they do have it on explosives, there will be an attempt guaranteed, and I made that statement as if it did happen. If, as I've heard, it is in on explosives, it can be guaranteed that they also will try to move it over into propellants. So it's not over. They haven't been able to do it on the legislative side, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen on the bureaucratic side.
Friends, this is why, we keep talking about contacting your representative, your senator, because, listen, they're our line of defense against crazy stuff like this. I mean, these people are literally out to shut us down as shooters. They want to take everything away from us that goes bang. It is so important. If we don't stand up now, and if we don't make these efforts now, it'll be too late later on. Don't you agree, Marty?
That's correct. This is the time to keep the pressure on. We're going into right now we're going into an election. They're going to maintain low profile because they want to continue to be elected, and our folk that are nominally on our side are going to let the firearms issues go to the back burner because those are not normally election issues. So we've got to keep the pressure up, and after the election we've got to continue to do that, because if we don't, they will forget.
And they will, literally. Look what's happened in the last 5 years. Look how many of our firearms rights we've lost in just the last few years. I mean, friends, if we don't do this now, if we don't stand up now and retain our rights, even try and get some of them back, you don't have to worry. Marty, you and I will be in some other business. I don't know what we'll be sitting here talking about fishing or something. I don't know. Maybe in the
Johnny Rowlands Fishing Show.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather keep it the shooting program, wouldn't you, Marty?
I would too.
Well, listen, we want to do a plug for Accurate Arms Powder. We shoot a lot of this. You have a new reloading manual, don't you, sir?
Yes, sir.
And you can find this in local gun stores?
Most of the gun shops, and they can call the 800 number, 800-416-3006, and get one directly from Ted Curtis and the crew in the customer service department.
All right, well, give us that number. That's an easy to remember 800 number.
800-416-3006.
Friends, I wish you would remember the good folks at Accurate Arms. Their powder is excellent, and these are nice folks. Marty, we appreciate it. Thank you. Well, friends, we're at a most unique location. This man standing next to me is named Richard Lyman. In fact, some distant relation to the other Lyman family that in the gun business.
Right.
But they have Christensen Arms, and they're from Utah. And, sir, that's the lightest high-powered rifle I think I've ever encountered. And we'll do the drop over right here, showing you have a most unusual barrel. Now this is a large graphite sleeve over a very slender steel barrel. Is that right?
Right, yes. And on our larger rifles, this is a 1022, but on our larger ones, it's actually a Schillen match grade stainless steel barrel blank that we start out with about 8 to 9 pounds. When we get through, it's about a pound and a half, and then we apply the graphite to it.
All right, you have a bull barrel type profile, but apparently this is a sort of a breakthrough as far as what is a comparable gun weigh made of steel?
This here is a heavy varmint rifle, which normally would be in the 12 to 14 pound range. This gun without the scope weighs about 6 pounds, 6.5. That's area code 801-528-7999.